Welcome back to MVM. I'm here today with Ashes to Ashes from Alter Ego Games. This is a team-based abstract strategy game where you are either taking on the role of humans or vampires fighting over the soul of this girl character. It is a battle that takes place on a puzzle board where you're going to need to move your miniatures around in tactical ways in order to be the first to capture this girl and bring her to your side. So you'll see the game already set up here, and you'll see that puzzly movement board here in the center. Now, at the start of the game, you're going to seed the board with 3 of your miniatures, and you'll see them out here. Now, in a 2-player game, each player just takes on one of these sides, but when you add in more players, you're going to be playing in teams, and you'll have multiple people controlling the same set of miniatures. So you're going to set up your miniatures on either side of the table, and you'll set up some portals here and the Secret Society miniatures, which I'll talk about what all this means in a second. But if you want to take a look at the board, you're going to see these blue lines. And these blue lines are movement lines. The crux of the game is placing these circular tiles to create new pathways for your characters to move. All of this is in an attempt to get this girl character who is going to slowly move down this path. If the girl reaches the far end of the battlefield without being captured by either side, then everyone loses. So the battle is to bring her onto your side of the battlefield. In addition, you'll see these 2 miniatures in the center. These are the Secret Society miniatures. This is an AI controlled by a deck of cards that is going to wreak havoc on both sides of the battlefield. If you have an odd number of players, then this Secret Society will actually be controlled by one of the players. So in addition to the Secret Society deck and the board setup, you're going to have 3 tokens that represent characters that are not in the battlefield. You have these inner characters here doing battle on the battlefield, and 3 outer characters represented by tokens that are going to move around the outside of the battlefield, interacting with different worker placement spots. In addition, you're going to have a player board. This player board is going to show you the abilities of your 3 main characters that are out of the battlefield and the power levels of your 3 characters that are on the outside of the battlefield. And these characters are going to work different ways in different phases of the game. You're going to be given cubes to keep track of these power levels, and you're also going to be given a combat grid. This combat grid is going to show you what happens when one character from one team does battle with a character from another team. You look at where this crosses, and we'll talk more about combat in a minute. But you're going to hand these out to the 2 teams, and then each player is going to look at their deck of cards and draw 3 cards to be their starting hand. These cards are going to either have a picture of a character or a picture of a dial. These dials just mean you can take the dial from the supply and place it somewhere out on the board and interact with it by moving across the finished line. If it has a specific character, then that line must be placed somewhere where the character can move. So you'll place this token adjacent to this character, for example, and then move them onto that line. Now, you can place this at any point on the line as long as they can move there. So I could place something up here and move this character backwards. And then on a future turn, place something here and then move that character back again. So you're going to be strategically placing these because you can block other players' movements. This board is going to become very full of these little dials. So these action cards are going to go into your hand and you're going to hold on to them until it's your turn. Once everything is set up, you're going to determine a random first player, and they're going to start by placing their outer figures. These outer characters are going to interact with the outer spaces of the board. You'll have a few key locations here. You'll have these 3 up top, the Seer, the Alchemist, and the Mystic, which all allow your character to pay power. So you'll actually have to pay some of this power level on this board in order to interact with these characters and gain a bonus. These are going to let you draw new action cards, replace some things on the board, and interact with the board in different ways. In addition, along the side, you're going to have 3 upgrade cards available. You can place your mini on one of those upgrade card slots and take that upgrade card. And that's going to be something that you can play later, again, and to have a unique effect. And these upgrade cards all have unique effects that are going to be present in the rule book. So it'll talk you through what all of these cards do. And then lastly, you're going to have their home locations along the edge here. When a character returns to their home location, they're going to regain some of that power. So you're going to need to move these characters back and forth from their home location out to these other locations in order to benefit your team and boost your abilities with those upgrade cards. Once you've placed your 3 outer characters, you're going to interact with the actual board. And you're going to do that by playing these cards from your hand. And like I said, you get 3 of them. When you play a card, you're going to be putting the dials down. You can either place a dial of that type or rotate a dial of that type that's adjacent to a specific character. So if I played this character's card, I could actually rotate this and start moving them in a different path. If you can cross paths with the girl, Minnie, you can actually take her and place her on your player board, signifying that you have her. On a future turn, you can return her to your side of the board and win. Now, once you have the girl, if you are attacked by the other players, you will actually lose her to the other side. So you're going to be going back and forth trying to hold on to and keep possession of this character. As you move, you might find yourself adjacent to an enemy character. If that happens, you're going to have to combat them. The aggressive character, the one that initiates the combat, is automatically wounding the opponent. Now, if you look at this chart, which I mentioned earlier, you're going to look at the character that is attacking and the character that is defending, and where they meet, you'll see a symbol printed. This symbol is the symbol the defender has to discard to block that attack. So there are a bunch of different combinations, and you're going to look in your hand, and you'll notice printed at the bottom, there are some symbols built into these cards. If you happen to have that card, you can discard it to the discard pile and dodge that attack. Otherwise, your team is losing power. And the power you're losing is based on the character that's attacking. They're going to do 1, 2, or 3 damage. And if you see here on the side of the board, you have a power tracker that starts at 20. If this power tracker ever gets down to 0, you lose and the opposing team wins. So if you don't want to worry too much about capturing the girl, you can just do a ton of damage to your opponent, get that power token all the way down to 0, and you can win that way instead. This combat board is also going to show you which cards you want to hold on to, because if you think a certain character is going to be attacking you soon, you can actually plan ahead for what you're going to need to defend with. Now, once you've played all the cards you want to play from your hand, you're going to end your turn, you're going to draw back up to 3 cards. After both players, both the humans and the vampires, have taken their turns, the girl is going to move 1 more space on that track. And again, like I said, if she reaches the end, it's game over. After both players have acted, the Secret Society is going to take their turn. And they're completely controlled by this AI deck of cards, unless you do have an odd number of players, in which case 1 player will be controlling these. You're going to play the top card of the deck, and it's going to have an effect on the board. Now, this card is revealed early in the game, so every time you play a card, the next card is revealed. So you do have time to plan for what the Secret Society is going to do, because their goal is to mess with everyone's plans. They're going to be doing damage to you. They're going to be trying to steal that girl character as well. So it's very possible actually for both teams to lose, either if the girl escapes or if the Secret Society manages to win the game instead. Now, as you're looking at the board, you'll see a couple things I didn't mention, some of which interact directly with that Secret Society. The first would be these portal tokens. And these portal tokens are traps, are going to deal damage to players and also summon these Secret Society figures. So they're going to be able to move across the board. And you'll also see portals, which are going to allow your characters to move from one side of the board to the other. If you can create a line that goes through one of these portals, it's going to come out somewhere else. But you'll notice they have a human side and a vampire side. A human can use the human side and a vampire can use the vampire side, no problem. If you use the opposite side, you're going to lose power to do that. So this might help you speed across the battlefield or retreat back to safety with the girl, for example, but you're going to be paying for it with power. And again, if you drop down to 0 power, it's game over. So you're going to be having to balance all these things while also trying to place and rotate these tiles to not only lead your opponents in wrong directions, but also to position your guys to where they need to be. Because when you follow one of these lines, like in games like Suro, you have to follow the line all the way to the end. So you can place tiles on your opponent's path and kind of throw them for loops or force them to go in directions that they don't want to go. And the game ends again when one side captures that girl Minnie or when she manages to escape. So that is Ashes to Ashes from Alter Ego Games. It is on Kickstarter right now, so please take a look at their page, see all the final components, because everything you see here is just a prototype, and come back, leave comments, ask any questions, and thank you again for watching. Please like, subscribe, follow everything we do at MVM, and I will see you next time.